Good morning, you two. How are you doing? Happy Monday.
Thank you.
Monday indeed, yeah.
For you guys to be on this project, I'm so fascinated with this. And the reason why is because I'm really good friends with Ryan J., who is an expert when it comes to the Yellowbrick Road, Wizard of Oz. So I just feel so close to what you guys are doing to this. And it's just fascinating with how this story has grown.
It's true. Making this movie, I mean, we're 12 years in now. This movie came out 12 years ago. Even before that, directors Andy Mitton and Jesse Holland, it was their first feature film. So to raise awareness and money and everything else, they would have these French toast breakfasts on the weekend where everyone would come together and we'd all kind of ruminate on the script, on what version it was, on how we were going to shoot it, et cetera. So like the pre-production on this not only was homegrown, like a homemade Denny's, but like also lasted a long time. And it really allowed for the idea to grow and to make sure that we were shooting the very best thing we could. So yeah, it's been a long time
for you guys to put this in a DVD collection. I mean, my God, I mean, we get to talk. I mean, get to hear from actors and there's crew members and things like that. Maybe I'm a sick fool, but this is the kind of stuff that inspires me to want to even grow further with my own creativity. What about those that are just discovering what the art of this is all about?
Gosh, that's really inspiring. I think anything that makes someone want to be more creative is really, really awesome. Clark was just saying earlier that horror is a really interesting genre because it connects the audience is very involved. The fans are very involved in the horror. And so when you get to have a re-release like this DVD and Blu-ray, where you have interviews from the cast and interviews from the crew and connections to the movie from years ago, to be able to have that sort of reflection back on what filmmaking was like a decade ago, both for us individually and for Hollywood. I think that's so special. I think that's a really great opportunity for the fans to get to have a unique and a genuine look in deeper to what the process was like.
Do you think that we label it a horror film, but doesn't it have to come with a definition? Because what scares me may not scare you. What brings fear to me? Because what this movie right here, the reason why it stays so true inside my soul is because it could happen. That to me is a horror film. It could happen.
That's true. That is true. It is horror is a really wide swath of a genre, right? Because sometimes people, I totally agree with you. What scares someone else may not scare another. I love that it scares you.
But see, I've become, because of binge watching, I've also become that guy that hits rewind and will sit there and say, I want to see that scene again. And then you break it down. And then you go, oh, I see why this one works.
It's incredible when you get to watch something over and over again and really start seeing the script through the material, and you go, oh, that's so smart.
Yes.
Oh, they planted that scene earlier. Oh, they did that. Oh, that really paid off, or this or that. And I don't want to speak for Andy or Jesse, but I know Andy has said that with DVDs and things that have director commentary, that was kind of his film school. Like he would watch his favorite films and really break it down. So like you said before, the fact that Yellowbrick Road is doing this, and Lightyear Entertainment is releasing this this Blu-ray with all these special features, like it's going to allow people who really love the movie to dig in further and go, oh my God, I didn't realize this, or oh my God, what is Robert Eggers doing there as costume designer on Yellowbrick Road? He's going to go off and have an incredible career. What is he doing with these fools?
Doesn't this kind of prove that if you have not seen Yellowbrick Road, no matter how old it is, if you've not seen it, it's a brand new movie?
Yeah, I think it is.
And to me, that's what's fun. I mean, it's like the movie business now is the new Tower Records or Music Land. We go into a situation like with this DVD collection, and you're going, oh my God, I've just discovered the brand new beginning.
Well, I think people, like you're saying, people that are interested in a DVD collection, people that are interested in deepening their knowledge of a film to spark their own creativity. I mean, those are the creators. Those are incredible fans to have. Those are incredible just people that want to watch the film. And I think that's cultivating a group of people that are really passionate. And I think that's really awesome. I think entertainment these days, with so many streaming opportunities, with so much saturation in the market, I think it's easy to just sort of watch things to be distracted. And I think it's super fun to have a project where people feel engaged.
Indie movies. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I'm more impressed that you threw out a Tower Records reference because I don't, I mean, I worked there when I was a kid for a hot minute. So I don't know who's going to remember what Tower Records is, but to go along with that with Cass, like at Tower Records, when you discover someone, like Nirvana, you discover Nirvana and then you have to listen to Metallica and Soundgarden and you have to go down this hole. So just the idea of Yellowbrick Road being a movie like that, where you can discover it and then have to discover other people, makes me happy.
Well, I totally get that listeners and viewers are going to do that because that's how we're trained now, because how Netflix and Hulu, they say, well, you liked this movie, I think you're going to like this one as well. And that's what I like about Yellowbrick Road is it's going to open up a lot of people going, oh, I've got to do that one again.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I know Andy and Jesse have been at other festivals for other movies, and people have come up, 10 years after the fact with copies of the DVD of Yellowbrick Road, and I've said, Andy, will you sign this, please? Because when I saw this when I was 16 or whatever, 10 years ago, like, it really messed me up and it stayed with me. So I agree. I think it's awesome.
So why do you think it is staying with us? And it's one of those where you could get into a conversation and if people haven't seen it, it's like, oh, you're kidding me. Oh my God. It creates that kind of emotion from you.
Yeah. I think it's because it takes chances and it is kind of so weird. I want to talk about it without totally spoiling it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but, the movie takes chances in a way and takes its time and its patience that when things do start happening, it's really shocking. and you are so lulled into being with this group of people who are walking this road together that you're disarmed by it. And it's not a bunch of kids at summer camp, with a slasher guy coming in. It's nothing you've seen before. It's not like, oh, I know what happens here. You go into this movie and be like, who are these people and what are they doing? And then when you get into it and you're with them, 40 minutes in, when it starts hitting the fan, you go, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. And weren't they brother and sister?
I also think that the characters are relatable. They're not caricatures. Like all of these people in the film could be you or your next door neighbor, versus sort of like, oh, that's some star playing this part, or that's some icon from history playing this part. Like it feels very, I think, in your living room, in your neighborhood, in your backyard. And that's both who was cast and also how they were written, I think.
Oh, yeah. In this day and age, I mean, an entire population walking up a mountain and disappearing, really, seriously, with COVID, with monkeypox and stuff like that, I would walk up a mountain just to get away.
We should do a sequel.
Yeah.
We should do a sequel where they're not trying to figure out what happened, but they're actually running from reality.
They're actually trying to get away.
They're like, please make me disappear. Please.
The performances, what amazes me about this is that it's so natural. I mean, for an indie film, so many times when you watch indie films, you can hear people speaking out of tune and the rhythm isn't really there. Not in this movie. I mean, for a first time film, come on. I mean, they had some experience with this.
Andy and I started a theater company in Santa Monica well before this, and we all went to college. Andy, Jesse, Cassidy, myself, actually most of the cast of the movie.
Tara, Alex.
We all went to Middlebury College together in Vermont, and we were all from the theater department there. So we all had a language, and actually Cassidy, Andy, and I are in a band together. So we have a musicality to us anyway, and I think that only became a cohesive unit. And that's, I think, one of the only reasons this movie worked is because we were already a family going into it. So we had to learn a lot of things about making a movie while we were making the movie, but it didn't sink us because we weren't just a bunch of strangers trying to make it happen. I remember, I think one of the first one, like the day 3 on set, I had a pretty emotional scene to do, and I did it, and we went hard into it. And I think it was that day that the crew who didn't know us, who were hired, who were just like, we're going to shoot a movie in the woods. Once they saw the level of work we wanted to bring to it, they all kind of fell in line, and they were like, oh, oh, this isn't just some other stupid horror movie. This is like they're trying to do something here. They're trying to say something, and let's all get behind this. So I think being a family really helped the movie get made.
I also think filming it in the middle of nowhere helped.
Oh yeah.
In a couple ways, like not trying to make the woods of Los Angeles look like New Hampshire, but actually going to New Hampshire, Palmdale for New Hampshire. No, we like went to New Hampshire and tried to make it feel as real as possible as well. And that meant sometimes that like we had locations that we lost the day before we were supposed to shoot there, because the land was owned by someone we didn't know, or so it was or it was federal land or whatever. So, and we also had a lot of kindness of those around us. There was a family that really helped us out a lot when we were filming and lost a bunch of locations. And so that kind of camaraderie, that kind of like, your pants are around your ankles and you're like, what am I going to do now? And, you kind of like, you have people that come and they bring you kindness, honestly, not because they know what the finished product is going to be like, but because, like you said, they're interested in investing in creativity. They're interested in investing in passion. And I think that inciting like feeling is important, and I think makes the end product feel a lot more genuine.
You talk about being in the middle of nowhere. I'm from Montana. That there's nowhere all over that place, and I found a lot of energy being there. I always thought it was on the corner of walk and don't walk, and to me that's where creative energy becomes a collaboration.
We are also from Montana. Where are you from?
I'm from Billings. Where are you from?
Livingston.
Oh my God, Livingston, the Windy City, the true Windy City.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Chicago and Livingston, so we just couldn't get away from the wind.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you guys are familiar with the Bozeman Tunnel then?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh my grandfather helped create that. And so when I hate that the highway doesn't let you go by it anymore, because I would always look over to the side of the road going up that twisty mountain and go, that's my grandfather.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, being from Montana, spending a lot of time there, going to school in Vermont, shooting in New Hampshire, there is something special about the nothingness.
Yeah. So now, what did you both learn from this? Because I mean, the one thing that I've studied in talking with musicians and stuff like that, the song is never done; it evolves. Do you not think this is also evolving?
Absolutely, this is also evolving. We're lucky enough to be able to re-release this movie. Mm-hmm. And I believe Jesse got to go in and redo some special effects and tweak some things. So it's not exactly the same movie. I think they tried to adjust things that people had problems with, not to the point of, changing it completely, but at least smoothing it over to make people happier. But I also think that the art form is constantly evolving. So like any musician or actor or director will tell you, as soon as they finish their project, they're like, oh, I messed that up. I want to do another one and do it better. Or this next album is going to be even greater. Or, oh, wait till I take this idea and do the next movie. So it's constantly, hopefully, going upward and evolving.
One of the things that I learned over the weekend is it's called Lights and Magic, and it was a story about George Lucas. And you don't really ever hear the stories of the way that his studio was basically a bunch of old raggedy couches. Did you guys go through that moment too, where we all have this vision of you superstar actors and producers and directors, that you live this lavish lifestyle, but in reality, it was a hole.
Lavish lifestyle. No, you mean when we were actually filming this film?
Oh, no, filming it, putting it together, everything like that. Absolutely.
Oh, no. We were like living in a cabin. We were eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I think having worked on productions that do have a lot of money on different networks and whatnot, obviously it feels different. But I honestly think the more money that you get, sometimes the further away from the creativity you get. Yep. I think that when you have boundaries, whether they're financial or logistical or circumstantial, I think that you have no choice but to lean into what you're trying to make, and make something out of, quote, nothing. That to me is more fun too, because you have a greater sense of accomplishment. When you have sort of an endless supply of money, you kind of can always say, well, it could have been better. I could have. Money doesn't fix it all. Right. I also think that people have an idea of actors in Hollywood and producing and all of that. And I think some of it's true, and I think most of it's not.
With your music backgrounds, what kept you from going in there saying, I think I can do a better soundtrack in the background? I'm more experienced, more mature in life. Let me try this with this song or with this lay of music.
Because we have our pillar of musicality, Mr. Andy Mitten, standing in the way, and I defer to him. And I defer to him on all things music. It's like, oh, I want Stone Temple Pilots meets Beach Boys meets everyone else. I'm just going to talk to Andy about that. I'll drum for him, and that's it. No, I think what that came down to bring money back into it is I believe there were a couple songs that Andy and Jesse really wanted in there that would be recognizable, or at least voices that were recognizable, to give it that old-timey feel, so they could pay for that with what money we had. And then I do know that a bunch of those tracks Andy actually made. Wow. So like that's him making the music and sneaking it in there to make it sound like everything else. So it's another testament to him, his own musicality and what he can do on a shoestring budget. Do
you look at any of today's modern movies and go, oh, you guys borrowed that from my film? You borrowed it. That's totally our film.
That's a really good question. I don't think Yellowbrick Road's been one of those things, one of those babies that you birth that afterwards you're like, whoo, I need a scotch and a cigarette. So like put that away. So like I'm not going to think about it for a while, but I can't think of anything like that. No, can you, Cass?
No, and I also think I think that there's only so many colors.
Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah.
Like, so we are all mixing them and we're all making them. And I don't know that even if I saw something that reminded me of Yellowbrick Road, I would necessarily be like, they stole that from us. I think we inspire each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think as long as what you're telling is coming from your heart and what you've watched and been inspired by, like, you know, go for it. Yeah. I think what is that quote that it's like the greatest form of help me out here. It's early and I'm a new mom. Yes, thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Wow. So Clark, I'm in Kyle Petty country, and I mean the big drive every year. So many people come from Charlotte to do that ride. I'm so proud of you for being a part of it as well.
Of course.
It's such a magical time for everybody. I mean, it's and everybody is invited to be a part of that ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you in North Carolina again? You're in Charlotte?
I'm in Charlotte, yeah. Yeah, and so, you know,
cool.
and you know, Motor City USA is up there in Mooresville. We've got the Charlotte Motor Speedway and all that kind of stuff. So Kyle Petty, well, the Pettys have just been a major part of this community ever since I got here in '85.
Wow.
So.
Wow, 85. You went from Montana to Charlotte?
Yeah, I had that big radio dream. I wanted to go to California, not as a nobody. I wanted to go as somebody, and I was like, I'm still searching for somebody.
Cool. Yeah. Always looking for somebody. Charlotte's pretty cool. I'm filming in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh my God. Oh, are you getting to Folly Beach or anything like that? Going out there to the lighthouse?
Yeah. Folly and Sullivan's, and trying to, because it's so darn hot that you got to find some place to cool off.
Oh,
but yeah.
It's not down there on Market Street. Hell no. It's not good.
No, it is not downtown. That's for sure.
So what are you guys going to do for the next project now? Because now you've put yourself out there again with this. You're introducing yourself to new people as well as followers and stuff like that. We're going to say, what's next? We got to have it. What's next?
Well, at least for Andy Mitten and myself and some of the other collaborators, we have a new movie called The Harbinger,
nice,
which just premiered at the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal, and will actually be hitting theaters in a bunch of cities in the U.S. in a couple weeks. I don't know if I can say anything. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but soon it will be out.
Excellent. Well, you guys have got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind.
For a fellow Montanan, that makes us feel great.
We'll meet over there at that Yellowstone River, and we'll have lunch sometime.
Yes, let's do that.
Be brilliant today, you two.
Thank you. You as well.